I spent months fighting excruciating lower back pain, wasting thousands on chairs that promised relief but felt like sitting on concrete slabs. Finding a chair that actually supports your spine instead of destroying it is a massive gamble, filled with misleading marketing and fake ergonomic claims. But after testing dozens of top-rated models, I finally found the ones that actually fix the problem. Today, I'm counting down the top 7 office chairs for back pain, leading up to the absolute best chair that completely cured my sciatica. Let's dive in. 7. FlexiSpot C7 Ergonomic Office Chair. On paper, it promises a lot of high-end features for a budget-friendly price, especially with its breathable mesh back and dedicated lumbar support system. I spent a full 2 weeks using this as my daily driver to see if it could handle long editing sessions without triggering my lower back pain. While the initial sit feels adequately supportive, the illusion of premium comfort begins to fade after the first couple of hours. The self-adaptive lumbar support is heavily marketed as a game changer, but in practice, it left me incredibly frustrated. Instead of smoothly tracking my movements, the lumbar pad felt overly aggressive and rigid, constantly pushing into my lower spine at an awkward angle. There is a locking mechanism intended to keep it in place, but I found that it frequently slipped out of position when I leaned back, forcing me to constantly readjust my posture. This constant fidgeting completely defeats the purpose of an ergonomic chair meant to seamlessly alleviate back pain. Moving down to the seat cushion, the experience unfortunately doesn't improve much. The foam base is decently thick, but it lacks the high-density resilience required for serious, all-day support. By the end of an 8-hour workday, the cushion had compressed so much that I could feel the hard plastic frame underneath, which sent shooting pains up through my tailbone. Furthermore, the 4D armrests, while adjustable, are noticeably wobbly and rattle every time you shift your weight, making the entire chair feel much cheaper than it actually is. Ultimately, the FlexiSpot C7 might suffice for someone who only spends an hour or 2 at their desk, but for chronic back pain sufferers working full shifts, it simply doesn't deliver. 6. X-Chair X4 Leather Executive Chair with Headrest. Wrapped in premium leather and featuring a polished aluminum base, I was genuinely excited to test this model, assuming the high price tag would directly translate to high-tier back support. I unboxed it, completed the assembly, and immediately noticed how commanding it looked in my office. However, a premium aesthetic does not automatically equal ergonomic superiority, and my testing quickly revealed some glaring structural flaws. The centerpiece of the X-Chair is its dynamic variable lumbar support, designed to pivot and move with you throughout the day. In theory, this sounds fantastic, but in reality, the execution is incredibly stiff and unforgiving. When sitting upright, the lumbar mechanism applies an intense, highly concentrated pressure to a very small area of the lower back. Instead of dispersing my weight evenly, it felt like a blunt fist pressing directly into my spine. After a few days of use, my lower back was actually more tender than when I started, completely contradicting the chair's medical-grade marketing claims. Additionally, the premium leather upholstery, while undeniably beautiful, proved to be a significant detriment to long-term comfort. Despite the company's claims of breathability, the material traps body heat almost immediately. Within an hour of intensive work, I found myself sweating, which caused me to slide forward on the seat pan and entirely ruin my ergonomic posture. The included headrest also feels like a complete afterthought. It lacks meaningful vertical adjustment and constantly slipped down into my shoulders whenever I tried to lean back and relax my neck. The X-Chair X4 is ultimately an exercise in style over true, lasting substance. You are paying a massive premium for the executive leather look rather than targeted, medically sound back support. 5. Branch Verve Chair. From the moment I pulled it out of the box, I was struck by its beautiful, contemporary design, highlighted by a unique 3D knit backrest that looks more like modern art than office furniture. I tested the Verve for a solid month, and it was immediately apparent that Branch prioritized actual human biomechanics rather than just throwing gimmicky features at the wall. The core of the Verve's back pain relief lies in its V-shaped back suspension system. Unlike the rigid, aggressive lumbar pads of the previous chairs, the Verve utilizes a beautifully suspended knit material that naturally conforms to the exact curvature of your spine. During my testing, I noticed that the chair provided a gentle, enveloping support that entirely eliminated the mid-back fatigue I usually experience around 3 in the afternoon. It cradles you without forcing your spine into an unnatural, hyperextended arch, allowing for a much more relaxed and natural posture. The adjustability on the Branch Verve is impressively smooth and intuitive, specifically the seat depth and tilt mechanisms. Being able to slide the seat pan forward perfectly accommodated my leg length, ensuring that the back of my knees weren't pressed against the cushion, which is a hidden cause of lower back strain. The high-density foam seat is noticeably superior to the FlexiSpot, providing a firm but incredibly forgiving landing pad that maintains its structural integrity even after a grueling 10-hour video editing marathon. While the armrests on the Verve lack the extreme multi-directional tweaking found in ultra-premium models, they remain sturdy and perfectly functional for maintaining shoulder alignment. At its price point, the Branch Verve is a spectacular achievement in ergonomic design. 4. Steelcase Series 2. Steelcase is a legendary name in the ergonomic world, and I had incredibly high expectations when I began testing this specific model. The Series 2 immediately impressed me with its tank-like build quality. There is absolutely zero wobble, squeak, or rattle when you sit down. It feels remarkably engineered, prioritizing absolute stability and long-term durability, which is exactly what you want when trusting a piece of furniture with your spinal health. The standout feature that completely transforms my daily workflow is the Air Live Back technology integrated into the backrest. Through a clever geometric design, the back of the chair actually flexes and twists as you move, maintaining continuous contact with your spine, regardless of how you shift your weight. When I tested this by reaching for items across my desk or leaning sideways to look at a second monitor, the chair followed my movements perfectly. This active support prevented the sudden jolts and strains that typically trigger my lower back spasms. Another absolute game changer is the weight-activated tilt mechanism. Most chairs require you to constantly fiddle with tension knobs to find the right recline resistance, but the Series 2 mathematically calculates your body weight and instantly provides the exact right amount of pushback. This encouraged me to recline more often, transferring the physical load off my lower spine and onto the backrest. The seat cushion, infused with custom air pockets, also brilliantly reduces pressure points beneath the thighs and pelvis, keeping my legs feeling completely fresh. The Steelcase Series 2 is an absolute workhorse of a chair that quietly and efficiently cures back pain without demanding constant readjustment. 3. Steelcase Gesture with Headrest. I spent a full 2 months rigorously testing the Gesture, and it quickly became apparent that this was designed for the way we actually work today, constantly shifting between keyboards, smartphones, and tablets. The build quality is nothing short of phenomenal, offering a dense, perfectly weighted base that instills total confidence from the absolute moment you sit down. The magic of the Gesture lies in its proprietary 3D live back system, which I found to be a massive leap forward in spinal care. Unlike traditional chairs that only support you when you are sitting perfectly upright, the Gesture's backrest acts like a second spine. As I intentionally slouched, reclined, or leaned deeply into the chair to take a phone call, the backrest continuously micro-adjusted to map perfectly against my vertebrae. It virtually eliminates the dangerous gap between your lower back and the chair, drastically reducing cumulative daily fatigue. Where the Gesture truly leaves the competition in the dust is its armrests. These are, without a doubt, the most fluid and highly articulated armrests I have ever tested. They move like a natural extension of the human arm, allowing me to draw them in tight while texting or push them wide while typing on a split keyboard. By fully supporting the weight of my arms in any position, it completely eradicated the tension in my upper back, neck, and shoulders, which often cascades down into intense lower back pain. Furthermore, the included headrest on this specific model is an ergonomic triumph. Unlike the useless add-on found on the X chair, the Gesture's headrest features an incredibly wide range of motion, perfectly cradling the base of the skull whether you are sitting up straight or fully reclined. 2. Herman Embody. My testing phase with the Embody completely shattered my preconceived notions of what a chair could actually do for the human body. From the instant you sit down, you realize this is not just a place to rest, it is an active, dynamic health tool designed by physicians and PhDs in biomechanics to fundamentally improve your entire posture. The back of the Embody features an exposed exoskeleton with a matrix of tiny, flexible pixels. When I first leaned back into it, the sensation was genuinely mind-blowing. Instead of a single flat surface pressing against me, hundreds of individual nodes independently flexed to perfectly map the unique curvature of my spine. This pixelated support system dynamically distributes body weight so flawlessly that I routinely felt weightless, completely removing the agonizing downward pressure on my lower lumbar region that used to plague my afternoons. The seat pan of the Embody is equally revolutionary. It consists of 4 different support layers that work together to promote immense airflow and perfect pelvic alignment. During my longest 12-hour editing days, I never experienced the dreaded numb legs or lower back stiffness. By perfectly balancing my pelvis and encouraging subtle micro-movements, the chair actually increased my blood circulation. It actively prevented my spine from compressing over time, acting as a constant, subtle physical therapy session while I relentlessly worked at my desk. The Embody is a monumental achievement in ergonomic engineering and an absolute godsend for anyone suffering from severe chronic back pain. It fundamentally corrects bad posture habits without you even realizing it. The only factors keeping it from the absolute top spot are its staggering retail price, the absence of an integrated headrest for those who prefer one, and the slightly noisy plastic exoskeleton when you twist vigorously in a quiet room. 1. Herman Miller Sayl. You might be shocked to see a less expensive Herman Miller beat out the Embody, but after extensive, grueling testing, the Sayl proved to be the ultimate, undisputed champion of targeted back pain relief for the widest variety of users. Visually inspired by the principles of suspension bridges, this chair is a jaw-dropping piece of modern design that manages to perfectly balance elite ergonomic science with a surprisingly accessible price point. The genius of the Sayl lies entirely in its unframed, 3D intelligent backrest. Instead of relying on hard plastic shells or rigid foam pads, the Sayl uses a flexible elastomer web that is physically stretched across the frame. During my testing, I found that the tension of this web is mathematically varied. It is incredibly tight and supportive directly across the lumbar and sacral regions, but looser and more forgiving around the shoulders. This allowed me to stretch and twist naturally, while my lower spine remained flawlessly supported and locked into a healthy curve. Another absolute game changer that secured the Sayl's victory is its forward tilt capability. Most back pain is triggered when we lean forward to stare at a screen, pulling our backs entirely off the chair. The Sayl actually tilts forward with you, keeping that vital elastomer web firmly pressed against your lower back, even when you are intensely focused on your keyboard. This single feature completely eliminated the lower back strain I normally get during deep, focused work sessions, keeping my posture perfectly aligned at all times. The Herman Miller Sayl is the ultimate triumph of intelligent, purposeful design.